Today I'm going to show you how you can start building brand authority from scratch. No massive following, just real value, consistency, and authenticity. Building authority from scratch, it feels overwhelming, but it's worth it. Becoming the go-to person in your field opens up doors, and most of all, it boosts your income. But how do we get started? Today we are talking about building brand authority from scratch, and we are using a live case study that I am currently working on to showcase how we can build a brand from scratch. Okay, so we're talking about wellness coaching. And when I say from scratch, I mean starting with 4 followers. That's it. Okay, and that brand, just so you know, is me. It's something I'm building for myself. And I'm just going to showcase and document how I am growing that brand. Now, my brand strategy has 4 different areas that I am focused in on, and that includes positioning, persona, pillars, and presentation. So those are the 4 areas that I focused on when building my brand strategy, and that's what we're going to go over today, how I created that, and what steps you can take to create your own brand strategy. So first off is positioning. You need a unique value proposition. So just a little background about me and how I created this. I wanted to do coaching. I wanted to do songwriting coaching. I wanted to teach songwriting. And when you think of songwriting, you think of people who are artists and musicians. And that's something I could have done. I could have focused on helping younger musicians, younger singers, to hone and craft their songwriting skills. And that's fine and that's valid. But I wanted a unique value proposition. And I thought, what about focusing on people who are not artists, who are not known to be creative already, and used songwriting as a wellness tool. You know, I just sat down and thought about, like, how do I want to be different from other artists, other musicians, myself, and offering something different. So I focused on a unique value proposition, and I came up with the phrase, I help busy professionals shift from workday stress to creative release with easy, expressive songwriting techniques. Right? So that's what I decided to focus on, and offering something unique. So there are a lot of wellness coaches in the wellness spaces, and there are seasoned musicians like myself who offer younger musicians sort of lessons on how to grow their own careers. So those are like 2 diverging things that I decided to bring together. And once I decided on that, that's when I started to work on my messaging. What is the messaging behind that? And the messaging is, I'm a songwriting coach for non-creatives. So once I decided on what my positioning would be, what my unique value proposition would be, I started to think about, well, what does that look like? What is the strategy behind that? So I'm not focused on musicians. I'm offering something creative and musical, but not for musicians. So what does that look like? And because it's in the wellness space, I figured, okay, let's lean into that. Let's make this feel like it's a spa, it's a retreat, make it feel like it's a Zen experience. So these are the things that I thought about when I thought about, like, positioning myself. How am I going to stand out? So it is a music offering, but it is not for musicians. It is for non-creatives. It is for busy professionals. And I wanted to give the feel of you are escaping something. So that's why I thought of like spa, retreat, and Zen. That is how I approached my positioning. So once I knew what my positioning was, I began to focus on the persona, the people that I wanted to reach. I did some research to see what other kind of wellness coaches are out there, to see what other solutions are out there. So I did a lot of market research to come up with this. It involves looking at what other people are doing, and looking at what your ideal customer needs. With persona, I came up with this overview, and I named my persona Purpose-Driven Paula. So Purpose-Driven Paula is grappling with a life dominated by external career pressures that leave little space for personal fulfillment, creativity, or emotional relief. Her internal struggles, she feels unfulfilled, disconnected from herself, and anxious about her lack of a stress relief. Her external problem is she is constrained by her professional environment, heavy workloads, and high expectations that come with her career. So for the persona, I really wanted to focus on like, what are the pain points? If this person is not a creative, if they're not thinking of songwriting as this solution already, what are some of the things that they are having trouble with, and how do I answer that for them? How do I help them? So if I want to focus on busy professionals, they are often stressed. They are often feeling unfulfilled, a lack of joy, a lack of purpose. So these are the things that I decided to focus on. And how do I help them? I help them through a structured, supportive program that introduces creativity in a manageable, beginner-friendly way, allowing them to feel purposeful, to reduce stress, and to reconnect with a part of themselves they've neglected. This is like a major piece of it, and I think this is a part that people often overlook. And that is the persona. That is knowing your audience, knowing who you are helping and how you are helping. And once you know these things, then you can figure out where you find these people, right? So if these are people who are feeling stressed out, they're feeling anxious, they're already going to be tapped into a wellness space if they're looking for that relief, because you want the people who are looking for the solution that you're offering, right? So not only that they feel this way, but they are actively looking for the solution that you are offering. So again, some more research, finding out like, what are some of the hashtags, what are some of the big Instagram accounts that are offering similar benefits. So through some research, this is just like a small list of the hashtags that I came up with. I also did some research on some accounts that are offering similar benefits, right? So what are the benefits? It is stress relief, reducing stress, feeling connected, feeling like there is relief. So you really want to get into the psychology of what your persona, what your customer, your ideal customer is feeling. So you want them to feel a sense of relief. So you want to look for accounts that are offering that and that are providing that. Once you do that, you can start to find and reach out for those people. So that is step 2, working on the persona. Now we're going to come over here to pillars. This is the foundation of what you're going to say to your ideal customer, right? So this is getting your messaging right, the phrases, and this is what you're going to build your content off of. And I'm going to do a separate video for content strategy, but this is where we build the foundations and the outlines for that content strategy. Knowing what my unique positioning is and knowing who my ideal customer or persona is helps me create the messaging to reach them. I narrowed it down to 3 core pillars, and the first being creative expression as self-care. So that is, we explore the mental health benefits of songwriting as a stress relief tool and a way to nurture emotional well-being. The next is the accessible artist, and this is highlighted because this is very important, because with my unique positioning, it is very much about songwriting can be for anyone. It doesn't have to be for creatives. So this is sort of like the cornerstone of my messaging, right? That artistry and creativity is for everybody. It's not just for people who have been creative their whole lives, or it could be for people who were once creative and they left it behind and they want to rekindle that. But the core of the message is that artistry and creativity is for everyone, and I've made it accessible for everyone. So the accessible artist, so it highlights that creativity is a skill that everyone can develop, not just talented individuals. And then the third is creativity as a productivity catalyst. So it explores how unlocking creativity through songwriting can enhance problem solving, innovation, and productivity at work. Because remember, I'm focused on busy professionals, people who are feeling stressed and the workload is so heavy. And there is science to back up the fact that creativity helps you not just unwind and relieve stress, it also helps with your productivity. Some of the other messaging is rooted in like finding work-life balance, finding joy, finding purpose. These are the things that I really want to hone in on and talk about. These are the pillars. The thing about your messaging is you want it to be consistent. Consistent is a good word, but really you want to be repetitive. Repetition is the key, and I have a short form video that talks about how repetition is the key. Repetition in your messaging is so important. So knowing what your messaging is the key to being able to repeat that message over and over again to your audience. So I know we talked about my unique value proposition, and that was sort of just an overview of what I came up with in terms of how I want to position myself. But the actual go-to phrase I end every video with: I'm Kelly Jones, your go-to songwriting coach for non-creatives. I help busy professionals unwind and rediscover themselves through music. I use it at the end of every single video because repetition is key. I want them to know exactly what it is that I do and how I help them and how the solution is for them. I don't want people to look at my videos and see like, oh, it's songwriting, that's for artists, that's for musicians. No, it's for you. I use the word reset as a call to action. So that is a phrase that is also repeated. If you want to learn more, comment reset, send me a DM, reset. Knowing who you are, who you're trying to reach, and what you need to say to them are very important. And now the fourth and final part of my brand strategy is the presentation. Presentation is about consistency, being recognizable. So that's about your colors, your fonts, and your icons. Also your logo. First and foremost, the color palette. As we talked about in the positioning strategy, I wanted it to feel like a spa. I wanted it to feel like a retreat. I wanted it to feel zen. So I wanted something calming and relaxing, and also neutral colors. So this is the color palette that I came up with. Central focus point being this sort of really serene and calm blue. And then I built a palette around that, sort of a silverish gray white, the brown, which is very neutral, this muted black, and a deeper version of the blue. So that's the color palette that I came up with. I chose a font that feels very zen-like and these icons. So I really wanted the feather to be the central like focal point because there's a lightness to it. You know, light as a feather pen, and also these zen rocks. So those are the icons that I came up with that match the original positioning strategy that I decided on. All of these things work hand in hand, really. You have to know how you want to position yourself to decide how you want to present yourself. You have to know who your audience is to know what message you want to send to them. They all work hand in hand together. If you are looking to build your brand authority from scratch, I do have a resource for that, and you can check the link in my either description or my comments in order to get that free resource. So this helps you ask the right questions to build yourself as an authority in your field, to build yourself as a thought leader. I help coaches, consultants, and content creators to build their authority, specifically through video content creation, and I'll be talking more about that